To be honest, the emptiness shows up long before you admit it. It arrives in the quiet moments after a busy day, when the noise dies down and the room feels larger than it should. You sit, the body still, the mind circling the same tired explanations, and something inside whispers that a piece of you is missing. You do not know where it went. You only feel the outline it left behind, like a book lifted from a dusty shelf, the clean rectangle of absence staring back at you. You have carried this feeling for years, maybe for decades, hiding it under achievements, under caring for others, under competence and control. It keeps returning. It returns because it is not a mistake. It is a message you have not yet learned how to hear. You became good at motion. The calendar filled, the tasks stacked, the roles performed. People said that you were strong. You nodded because their praise made a kind of sense. Yet strength that never rests starts to feel like a mask that sticks to the face. You try to take it off at night and it does not move. Your laugh sounds right to others and slightly wrong to you. Your voice is polite, helpful, energetic, and just a little bit far away. You notice it when you look at photos of yourself. The eyes are doing the job of being eyes. They are not home. The emptiness is patient. It waits while you build a better routine. It waits while you buy the book, while you clean the house, while you make a new plan. It waits while you love someone as hard as you can, and it waits when they love you back. It waits when you sit alone, and it waits when you lie next to someone. It does not argue, and it does not threaten. It simply sits where your real voice should be. When you force yourself toward light, it grows darker. When you avoid it, it grows larger. When you shame it, it sinks deeper into your chest and becomes the weight you carry into every room. You are not broken for feeling this. You are not failing at life. You are not behind. You are someone who learned to survive by stepping over your pain. You were taught to keep walking. You learned that stopping was dangerous, that stillness meant being caught by whatever memory or fear was following you. So you ran, and the world rewarded you for running. You became responsible. You became helpful. You became the one who holds it together. And in the quiet, you became tired in a way sleep does not fix. There is a voice inside that says you should be grateful. It tells you to look at what you have and stay silent. Gratitude matters. Forced gratitude is a muzzle. When you use it to drown out the truth, you begin to betray yourself. You smile at the dinner table while a small rebellion forms in your stomach. You give advice that you cannot take. You promise yourself that the next change will do it. A better job, a different therapist, a stricter routine, a new meditation. You try to manage your inner world the way you manage your inbox, and it does not respond to management. It responds to contact. You may feel anger that has nowhere to go. You may feel shame that arrives without a clear story. You may feel a grief that does not fit any event. These are not random storms. They are old weather systems moving through a body that learned to ignore the sky. The emptiness is not empty. It is full of the parts of you that were pushed aside so that you could function. The obedient child, the quiet partner, the tireless worker, the peacemaker who paid with their voice, the caretaker who forgot who was being cared for. Every compromise made for safety, every emotion filed away under later. Later never came. I am not here to fix you. I am here to stand next to you while you stop running. I know the fear that rises in the throat when you consider turning toward what hurts. The body says that if you look, you will drown. The mind says that if you stop, everything will fall apart. You have believed that your value comes from holding the world up. You worry that if you let go, no one will be there to catch what drops. This is how the mask keeps its power. It convinces you that it is the only thing between you and collapse. It is not. It is the reason collapse keeps repeating. There is a different kind of belief in yourself than the one you were sold. It is not the loud voice that promises victory. It is not the grin in the mirror while you recite empty lines. It is quieter and more demanding. It says, I will not abandon myself when I start to feel the truth. It says I can stand in this discomfort without numbing it, without bargaining with it, without pushing it back into the basement. It says I choose contact over performance. That belief is not glamorous. It looks like you sitting on the edge of your bed and feeling the ache in your chest without opening a screen. It looks like you telling the truth in a calm voice when every muscle wants to change the subject. It looks like you giving up the chase and letting your life catch up. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words. The emptiness you fear can become the doorway you need. Inside it lives the disappointment you never voiced, the fury you swallowed, the boundaries you never drew, the grief you postponed so you could be useful. When you finally meet that emptiness, it begins to speak. It tells you what matters. It tells you what cannot continue. It tells you where you abandoned the person you were to keep the life you had. This is not a dramatic revelation. It is a slow, honest reunion. If you feel seen right now, that is not an accident. You are not the only one who learned to survive by removing yourself from your own life. The shame says that no one else feels this lost, that no one else wakes in the night with a heaviness that has no name. Shame lies. Many carry this silence. Many look steady on the outside and threadbare within. You are not alone in this, and you do not need to perform wellness to earn your place here. By the end of this video, you will understand why your pain is not a flaw to fix, but a force that can protect you and shape you. You will see that belief in yourself is not a smile you paste on top, but a promise you keep with your own depths. You will see that the emptiness is not the enemy, it is your invitation. To be honest, most of what you were told about getting better trained you to look away from what actually hurts. Positive thinking taught you to build a bright window in a house with a flooded basement. The light looked good. The water kept rising. You repeated lines about worth and abundance while your chest tightened and your jaw locked. You blamed yourself for not believing hard enough. The problem was not your effort. The problem was that you were taught to use hope as a sedative. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words. Affirmations can be useful as a compass, but when they are used to silence grief, they become a muzzle. A calm tone can soothe the nervous system, but when calm is forced to keep the peace with your own fear, it becomes a performance. You tried to be positive because the world celebrates positivity. It posts it on walls and sells it on covers. Meanwhile, your body kept reporting the truth. Tight breath, heavy stomach, a throat that swallows words before they are spoken. The body does not lie to protect your image. The body asks for contact. Here is what they do not tell their patients. Many methods are built to manage symptoms, not to meet the source. You learn to reframe thoughts. You learn to schedule habits. You learn to count wins and track streaks. None of this is wrong. It becomes a trap when it is used to outrun the parts of you that still wait in the dark. The inner critic happily takes these tools and turns them into weapons. It says that if you skip a routine, you are weak. It says that if you still feel pain, you are failing. It says that if you cannot stay calm, you are not spiritual enough. You added tools. The critic added pressure. The emptiness stayed. This might sound harsh, but information addiction can look like healing while acting like avoidance. You consume lessons about boundaries and trauma and shadow until your head buzzes with insight. You can explain attachment styles at dinner while your chest remains numb. You underline entire chapters that describe you perfectly and then turn the page. The mind feels productive. The body waits for contact that never comes. Learning is not the issue. Learning without integration becomes another way to stay safe and far from yourself. Therapy can also become a mask when it lives only in the head. Talking can circle the wound without touching it. You become expert at narrating your story and poor at feeling it. You know exactly why you are anxious. You know the day the pattern began. You can map your family tree of silence. Knowledge helps. It stops being medicine when it replaces sensation. The trauma lives where the body tenses, where breath shortens, where your hands go cold when a boundary is crossed. If the work never reaches the spine, the belly, the throat, the jaw, then the story remains a museum exhibit while your nervous system keeps reliving the event after closing hours. There is a popular illusion that discipline heals everything. You build a strict morning, you add cold showers and perfect diets and flawless checklists. Control feels like safety until control becomes a cage. You notice that the moment anything unpredictable happens, your whole structure shakes. The program held you together, not because you were whole, but because you were braced. Bracing is not strength, it is fear in a suit. Another illusion looks noble and kind. It says that love will fix you if you just give more of yourself. You become the helper, the rescuer, the steady one. You pour from an empty cup and call it generosity. You confuse self-abandonment with compassion. You bargain with your own needs to keep the peace. You accept manipulation and call it understanding. You carry other people's chaos and call it loyalty. Your nervous system pays the bill at night when the room goes quiet. Spiritual bypassing is the most seductive illusion. You meditate to leave the body rather than to enter it. You aim for transcendent light so you do not have to feel earthly rage. You forgive before you have even named the harm. You call numbness acceptance, and you call collapse surrender. Light without shadow blinds. Peace without truth is a freeze response with better branding. Not everyone is ready to hear this. Many systems that claim to heal you depend on your continued belief that you are almost there if you just buy the next plan. They sell relief rather than integration. Relief is a temporary anesthetic. Integration is a slow reunion with the parts of you that you learned to exile. Relief sells faster because it promises that you can keep your life the same and simply feel better inside it. Integration says that something must change. A boundary must be set. A truth must be spoken. A habit of self-betrayal must end. Real change threatens the roles that kept you accepted. Real change threatens the identity that earned you praise. You have done everything right according to the script handed to you. Work harder, stay positive, be grateful, be flexible, be kind, learn more. Do not make others uncomfortable. Keep the peace no matter the cost. The system misled you. It taught you to polish the mask rather than dismantle it. It taught you to chase the light rather than light a candle in the basement. It taught you to master techniques rather than build the capacity to be with what those techniques were designed to avoid. You were never lazy. You were loyal to a set of rules that kept you safe and small. Here is the hidden mechanism that sabotages healing. Avoidance can wear the costume of improvement. You run marathons of self-betterment that keep you far from the room where your grief sits waiting. You perfect your empathy so you never have to say no. You keep the schedule full so no memory can catch you. You organize your space so no feeling can spill out. Everything looks fine. Inside, your system holds its breath. The moment you stop moving, the old weather rolls in. There is another mechanism that looks noble. You outsource your authority to experts and then doubt yourself at every turn. You look for a technique that will tell you how to feel, how long to feel it, when to stop, when to forgive, when to let go. You start to believe that healing is a test with correct answers. Your life becomes homework graded by invisible judges. Real authority is quieter. It lives in the way your body softens when you tell the truth. It lives in the calm that follows a boundary. It lives in the strength that appears when you decide to stop abandoning yourself during hard moments. To be honest, belief in yourself is not the belief that nothing can hurt you. It is the belief that you can meet what hurts without turning against yourself. It is the belief that your nervous system can learn safety from contact rather than from control. It is the belief that your anger can teach you where a line must be drawn. It is the belief that your grief can teach you what matters. This belief does not arrive from a sentence in a mirror. It grows each time you choose sensation over performance. I am not saying throw out every tool. I am saying use them in service of contact. Use breath to stay with the feeling, not to push it down. Use meditation to enter your body, not to leave it. Use structure to make space for honesty, not to imprison it. Use knowledge to guide your attention toward what your body already knows. Let the mind become an ally to the heart, not its warden. If this has been hard to hear, good. Discomfort means the mask is loosening. You do not need to fix anything right now. You only need to stop rehearsing the illusions that kept you from yourself. Stay here with me in the plain truth. You have been doing your best inside a system that trains people to abandon themselves in polished ways. The moment you see the trick, the spell weakens. But there is something even scarier than wasted effort, and we will get to that soon. To be honest, the mind keeps more than you think, and it hides more than you know. Depth psychology has a simple starting point. Most of what drives you lives outside your awareness. It is not mysterious, it is practical. Your nervous system records experiences and builds patterns to keep you safe. Those patterns continue to run even when the original danger has passed. You call it personality. Often it is protection. Jung used a clear word for the parts you push away. He called it the shadow. The shadow is not evil. It is simply the drawer where you put traits that were not welcome in your home, your school, your early relationships. Maybe anger was punished. Maybe sadness was mocked. Maybe desire was shamed. You learned to hide those states to keep attachment. The hiding worked. You kept connection. The cost was that large pieces of you moved into that drawer and began to act from there. When you say that you do not know why you explode, collapse, or feel numb, remember that hidden parts still move your hands. Freud spoke about the unconscious as a storehouse of memory, impulse, and pain. He also showed how the mind defends itself. Denial says nothing is wrong. Rationalization explains pain away. Projection hands your trait to someone else so you do not have to own it. These are not moral failures. They are safety strategies. The problem appears when the strategy becomes the only way you know how to live. You deny until your body protests. You explain until your life feels like a report. You project until your relationships turn into mirrors you cannot stand. Jung described complexes as clusters of memory and emotion that act like small personalities inside you. Think of a complex as a pattern that gets activated and takes the wheel for a while. The inner critic is a familiar example. It carries the voice of an early judge and speaks as if it were the truth. A caretaker complex jumps up to fix before you even feel your own needs. A victim complex expects harm and sees confirmation everywhere. When a complex activates, your sense of choice narrows. You say that you had no idea why you said yes again. You did. A part did. The work is not to kill the part. The work is to recognize it, name it, and return to the driver's seat. This is where belief in yourself becomes practical. Belief is not a chant. Belief is the steady act of staying with your experience long enough to see which part is speaking. You pause. You feel your throat tense. You notice a familiar urgency. You say quietly that the inner rescuer wants to jump in. You breathe and allow the sensation to rise and fall. You do not abandon yourself to please the room. That small act builds authority inside you. Authority is the opposite of control. Control squeezes, authority contains. The body tells the truth before the mind admits it. Trauma, in simple terms, is unprocessed survival energy stuck in the system. It lives in tight jaws, shallow breaths, frozen shoulders, knees that brace for impact, hands that go cold when a boundary is crossed. When the original threat has passed, the energy remains and waits for completion. You feel it as anxiety, rage that scares you, or a fog that sits on your chest. No amount of thinking melts that ice. Contact melts it. Safe movement, safe breath, safe naming of what happened. The nervous system learns through experience, not through arguments. Family scripts shape much of this. A script is an invisible rule about who you are allowed to be. Perhaps you were the strong one who never needed help. Perhaps you were the peacemaker who absorbed tension so others could relax. Perhaps you were the achiever who earned love through performance. Scripts keep families stable. Scripts keep individuals split. When you try to change, the system often resists because your old role protected everyone else from their own work. Belief in yourself means staying loyal to truth over the old contract. You will feel guilt. You will survive guilt. That is how self-respect grows. Archetypes help you name big patterns. They are not mystical labels. They are templates that appear across cultures and families. The martyr gives everything and resents everyone. The hero saves and then collapses in private. The orphan walks alone and trusts no one. The tyrant controls because softness once led to harm. The lover fuses because distance feels like death. When you notice an archetype moving in you, you stop acting it out blindly. You feel the pull. You choose a different action. You build range. Range is freedom. There is a quiet mechanism called repetition compulsion. Freud named it. You recreate familiar pain because it feels safer than the unknown. You choose partners who resemble early caregivers. You take jobs that repeat the same dynamic. You accept manipulation that echoes the past because you learn to earn love that way. This is not self-sabotage. This is your system trying to master an old lesson with new players. The way out is not more effort. The way out is recognition. You say that this is the older pattern showing up again. You choose a boundary instead of a bargain. The spell weakens. Projection is the shadow's favorite move. You dislike a trait in others that you have not allowed in yourself. You call someone selfish because you cannot tolerate your own need. You call someone weak because you cannot allow your own softness. Owning projection does not mean agreeing with harmful behavior. It means using the trigger as a map. You ask what part of this belongs to you. You retrieve it from the other person and claim it with care. Your reactions become information, not law. There is also the polarity of masculine and feminine energy inside every person. Think of masculine as direction and structure. Think of feminine as presence and receptivity. When structure loses connection to feeling, it becomes control. When presence loses direction, it becomes drift. Many people in crisis have overdeveloped structure and underdeveloped presence. They control to feel safe and then feel empty because control has no warmth. Others have deep presence with no structure and feel lost. The work is integration. You build a structure that serves contact. You cultivate presence that informs action. You become flexible without losing form. Your inner critic deserves a plain explanation. It is a protector that learned to use shame as a leash. It believes that harshness keeps you in line and prevents rejection. It whispers that softness equals weakness. When you try to heal, it becomes the manager of healing and grades you every night. You cannot win with it. You can outgrow it. You do this by replacing self-attack with accurate self-assessment. Accuracy is firm and kind. You look at what happened. You take responsibility where it is yours. You refuse to hit yourself to pay for it. The nervous system learns safety when correction arrives without humiliation. Cultural systems add another layer. Many cultures reward productivity over presence, compliance over truth, image over contact. You likely internalize those values. You dressed your pain in competence and called it maturity. You smiled while your body asked for help. Depth work is countercultural. It asks for slowness where the world demands speed. It asks for sensation where the world demands a performance. It asks for honesty where the world rewards likability. You will lose approval as you gain self-respect. That trait is worth it. Here's the paradox at the center. You heal by moving toward what you were trained to avoid. Jung wrote that what you need will be found where you least want to look. You do not chase feeling better. You turn toward what hurts with support and you allow it to complete. Relief follows contact. Confidence follows survival of strong emotion. Belief in yourself grows because you watch yourself stay with the truth and remain intact. You learn that you can feel rage without destroying. You learn that you can grieve without drowning. You learn that a boundary can exist without losing love for yourself. Most psychologists will not tell you this because it sounds too simple. The nervous system trusts live proof. You build proof one honest interaction at a time. You say no when you used to explain. You leave the room when your body goes cold, and you come back when your spine is online. You sit with the urge to fix, and instead you breathe until the urge lowers. These micro choices communicate safety to your system. Over time, the baseline rises. The panic that used to drown you becomes a wave that you can ride. The numbness that used to lock you down becomes a signal that you need contact, movement, or rest. Here is another mechanism that matters. Dissociation is not a flaw, it is a freeze response. You left your body because staying felt impossible. Respect that intelligence. Then begin the slow return. Name what you see in the room. Feel your feet. Place a hand on your chest. Speak your name and your age out loud. You remind the system that the danger has passed. You come back without force. This is not a grand gesture. This is steady practice. The shadow does not integrate with violence. It integrates with consistent, non-shaming contact. Your relationships change when you work at this level. Manipulation loses its grip because you can feel it in your body. Codependence weakens because you no longer confuse self-abandonment with love. Boundaries become normal sentences rather than events. You say that this does not work for you. You hold your line without a speech. Power becomes the ability to stay present and choose, not the ability to control others. Control tries to shape the outside. Power governs the inside. Archetypal rebalancing shows up here as well. The martyr learns to let others feel their own feelings. The hero learns to ask for help before collapse. The orphan learns to risk trust in safe places. The tyrant learns to tolerate vulnerability. The lover learns to withstand distance without panic. You do not erase an archetype. You round it out with its missing counterpart. Wholeness is not a clean slate. Wholeness is a wide range. Not everyone is ready to hear this. Contact with pain is not glamorous. Integration threatens roles that once kept you loved. Families and workplaces often prefer the older version of you who absorbed more than your share. You will be tempted to go back. Belief in yourself is the promise that you will not. Here is what they do not tell their patients. The moment you stop outsourcing authority, the work becomes both simpler and harder. Simpler because the compass is inside your chest. Harder because there is no shortcut. Every time you choose sensation over performance, you strengthen the path. Every time you tell the truth calmly, you reclaim a piece of your life. Every time you set a boundary and let the guilt pass through you, you grow a spine that is yours. This might sound harsh, but your pain will not leave until it teaches what it came to teach. The lesson is not punishment. The lesson is reunion. The part that froze wants you to return and listen. The part that rages wants you to protect what matters. The part that collapses wants you to stop carrying what is not yours. When you honor the message, the symptom softens. Not because you forced it, but because you finally understood it. You do not need to do everything at once. You do need to stop arguing with your own body. The unconscious is not a monster in the basement. It is a storage room full of you. You walk down with the light on, you open boxes, you throw away what is not yours, you clean what matters, you carry the rest upstairs, you place those pieces where they belong. This is not dramatic, this is adult. And here comes the most painful truth. Here is the most painful truth. Pain does not dissolve because you outrun it. Pain turns into a guide the moment you stop moving and face it. Avoidance multiplies it. Contact transforms it. This is not a slogan. This is how the nervous system learns. When you meet the feeling directly, the body completes what it could not complete before. Breath deepens, muscles release, heat moves, tremor passes through. The system records that you stayed with yourself and survived. That record becomes strength. To be honest, belief in yourself is not confidence in a mirror. Belief is a decision you repeat when the wave rises. You say that you will not leave yourself during the hard minute. You feel your chest tighten, and you do not perform calm for the room. You speak one clear sentence that does not betray your truth. You let guilt move through without obeying it. You carry your own approval into the moment rather than begging for it. That is what self-belief looks like in practice. Quiet, steady, non-dramatic. Most psychologists will not tell you this in plain words. Strength is not the absence of fear. Strength is the capacity to feel fear and remain in contact with your body and your values. You do not need to be fearless. You need to be loyal to yourself when fear appears. That loyalty is the weapon. It cuts through manipulation, through fog, through old family scripts. It does not attack others. It protects the line you live by. Pain becomes a teacher when you use it as information. Anger says that a boundary was crossed. You set the boundary without a speech. Grief says that something mattered and ended. You let the tears move and you let the memory keep its place without building a shrine. Shame says that a part of you still believes you are wrong for existing. You answer shame with accurate self-respect. You take responsibility for your actions and you refuse self-cruelty. The message is heard. The symptom begins to soften. There is a clean difference between power and control. Control is bracing. Control squeezes every variable until life cannot breathe. Power is containment. Power holds shape while staying in contact with reality. Power says no when no is true and then goes to sleep. Control keeps checking the lock and never rests. You have lived a long time in control. It kept you safe. It also kept you small. The shift to power begins the day you stop monitoring and start choosing. Loneliness often appears at this stage. You stop performing, and some people step back because your old role served them. The silence feels like failure. It is not failure. It is space. In that space, you meet yourself. You sit at a table, and your body feels strange without the old work of pleasing. This is the doorway to belonging. You learn to belong to your own life first. Relationships built on performance fall away. Relationships built on contact deepen. The fear of being alone turns into the skill of being with yourself. Family scripts will flare when you claim this ground. The strong one will be accused of being selfish. The peacemaker will be called difficult. The achiever will be called lazy the first time rest is chosen over image. These names are old tools to keep the system stable. Name them silently and keep your line. You are not abandoning your family. You are ending a contract that demanded your self-abandonment as payment for love. Real love does not require that price. The inner critic becomes loud when you step into power. It says that you are arrogant. It says that you will be punished. It says that you are making a scene by telling the truth calmly. This is where belief matters. You answer the critic with accuracy. You are not perfect. You are precise. You are not cruel. You are clear. You are not reckless. You are responsible for your side and only your side. Accuracy dissolves the fog that shame tries to thicken. Archetypal patterns begin to rebalance as you live this way. The martyr stops giving what is not theirs to give and learns the clean relief of no. The hero stops saving as identity and begins receiving help before collapse. The tyrant learns that protection without tenderness is just control and armor and puts the armor down. The lover stands rooted in self while staying warm. None of this is mystical. These are ordinary shifts that come from contact and boundary. Your body will show you the milestones. There is a day when your jaw softens during a hard conversation and your voice stays steady. There is a day when your breath remains low in your belly while you speak a boundary. There is a day when you feel the old pull to fix someone and your hands remain still on your lap. These moments are proof. The nervous system trusts proof. Confidence grows because you witness yourself do the hard thing and remain intact. This might sound harsh, but avoiding pain has cost you more life than the pain itself ever could. Avoidance cost you presence at dinner. Avoidance cost you the respect of your inner child. Avoidance cost you nights of sleep and years of pretending. Facing pain costs you false peace. That is a price worth paying. On the other side of that price is the kind of quiet that does not need approval to exist. Belief in yourself changes your relationship with time. You stop rushing toward a finish line called healed. You start living today as a person who does not betray themselves. You eat slowly. You speak slowly. You decide slowly when slowness is what respect requires. You move quickly when quickness is clean and not panicked. You are no longer driven by the old emergency. You are led by contact with what is true now. Most psychologists will not tell you this because it threatens the industry of endless improvement. The aim is not to become a perfect self. The aim is to become a whole self who can feel, choose, and act in alignment under pressure. Wholeness includes anger that knows where to stand. Wholeness includes grief that keeps love honest. Wholeness includes fear that informs caution without running the day. Wholeness includes desire that no longer needs permission. You carry all of it without splitting. Not everyone is ready to hear this. Your life will look simpler from the outside and richer from the inside. You will say fewer words and mean more of them. You will do fewer tasks and finish more of what matters. You will hold fewer relationships and feel more intimacy. You will experience less drama and more intensity. Intensity is not chaos. Intensity is full contact with life. Here's the turn. Your pain becomes your ally the moment you agree to let it shape your integrity. It teaches you what must end and what must begin. It teaches you to bow out of dynamics that steal your spine. It teaches you to stand inside your values when pressure rises. You begin to trust yourself because you see yourself do it again and again. That trust is the weapon. Not a weapon to harm, but a blade that cuts through lies, through performance, through self-betrayal. And now we move from insight into action. You will need simple practices that train your system to stay with contact, to set clean boundaries, to integrate the shadow without violence. You will not rush. You will build capacity like you would build muscle. Slow, consistent, honest. To be honest, tools only matter when they bring you into direct contact with yourself. Start small and real. Sit, place a hand on your chest and another on your belly, and name what you feel with simple words. Warm, tight, heavy. Number. Do not grade it. Do not fix it. Accuracy without judgment begins to melt the freeze. This is how your system learns that you will not abandon it when sensation rises. Most psychologists will not tell you this plainly. Grounding is not a trick to make feelings go away. Grounding is the agreement to stay. Feel your feet on the floor, press them down with steady pressure until your legs and back remember that you have support. Let an exhale be longer than the inhale. Let sound help. A low hum or a soft sigh tells the body that danger has passed. Eyes move slowly from left to right across the room, so your brain stops searching for threats and begins to register the present. Here is what they do not tell their patients. Shadow work works only when it includes the body. Take a blank page. Write a few lines from the voice of your inner critic, then switch the pen to your other hand and answer from the part that is tired of being hit. The shift of hands slows the mind and loosens the old groove. Keep it brief. End each round with one accurate sentence of self-respect. I did this. I own my side. I will not attack myself. There is a simple practice for anger that protects rather than harms. Stand with your back against a wall and push through your heels and palms. Feel the spine take shape. Say out loud what the anger wants to protect. My time. My dignity, my peace. You are not rehearsing a speech for others. You are teaching your nervous system that anger is a guardian, not a weapon. When the body learns that, your boundaries come out clean rather than explosive. For grief, make a ritual that keeps love honest. Hold an object that carries memory. Breathe and allow heat behind the eyes to move without apology. Speak one sentence of truth to the person or to the past. You mattered. This mattered. I am the one who carries it now. End with a gentle touch on the chest so the system knows the moment is complete for today. Completion, not collapse. You visit grief. You do not drown in it. When shame appears, switch from self-attack to accurate repair. Shame wants you to disappear or to overperform. Refuse both. Name the impact you had. Offer one concrete amends that is within your control. Place a limit on the apology so it does not become self-erasure. You say the truth once, follow through, and step back into your life. Your nervous system learns that accountability does not require humiliation. Boundaries are a nervous system event long before they are words. Practice them in a calm room so they are available under stress. Speak one clear sentence and stop. I will not continue this conversation while being interrupted. I will return when we can speak with respect. That is enough. Do not explain. Do not sell your number. When guilt rises, place a hand on your belly and breathe until the wave passes. You are not cruel. You are clear. For codependence, use a daily check that breaks the old contract. Ask yourself, what is mine? What is theirs? And what is no one's to carry? Make one small withdrawal from rescuing. Let the silence happen. Let the other person feel their own weather. Your body will shake the first times because it learned that your safety depends on their comfort. Stay loyal to the new agreement. Your system will recalibrate. When dissociation pulls you out of your body, return with respect instead of force. Name 5 plain details in the room without rushing. The color of the wall, the texture of the chair, the sound of a distant car. Say your name and your age out loud. Place both feet flat and press gently. This tells your system that you are here and now. You are not broken for leaving. You are wise for learning to come back. Build a weekly ritual that strengthens self-trust. Sit with a calendar and choose one promise to yourself that protects contact. A bedtime that keeps your nervous system steady. A block of solitude where no one gets to reach you. A meal eaten slowly without a screen. Keep that one promise with seriousness. Self-belief grows from proof, not slogans. This might sound harsh, but the hardest work is saying no to the performance of healing. You are not a project. You are a person rebuilding loyalty to yourself. Every small act of contact is a vote. Each vote changes the system. You will lose some approval. You will gain a spine that sleeps at night. Not everyone is ready to hear this. You are. If you saw yourself in these words, write in the comments. I no longer run from pain. Let's see how many are ready for the truth. If this video changed something in you, write, I accept my shadow. Make it your vow to yourself. This is only the beginning.